You are now listening to Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, the voice for the people. Join Richie alongside co-host property damage attorney Hans Kennon as they bring light to the taboo world of big insurance companies, exposing their tactics and fighting for justice. Hear stories from contractors across the state. Contractor Talk, here to protect homeowners and uncover the truth.
That's fine. All right. Welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, and Happy New Year. 2026 is finally here. I'll leave 2025 where it belongs in the dumpster fire of a year it was. But happy to be here with new guests, just a new year and a new attitude here for the show. But you have several different ways. I don't know if we can add any more attitude without crossing any FCC boundaries, But as far as what we bring to you every week, not only do we bring it to you in a live radio audience like we have here at 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial here in Central Florida every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., but we bring it to you in many different other formats. Talking about streaming, we're talking about YouTube, and check out Hans' new. Well, I was going to go. I mean, he's moving offices, but he's still dapper nonetheless. And I challenge you to check out every show to ensure that he's not wearing the same outfit. You might have to, like stand maybe later on or whatever and show that off. Anyway, we'll get into that because it's the whole mix of the outfit that we're talking about here, not like tie versus like shirt and undershirt, right? I mean, you have a matching belt, maybe different shoes.
Well, I do actually. I have new shoes and a new belt on. In addition, I got the shirt in Las Vegas last week when I was out there, and so I can show you. I'm gonna see. I got it.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
I do have new shoes.
Some new kicks there.
New kicks. So yeah, we're moving our offices to a new, larger, better, bigger space. All those things. So I literally came from that to here. Even the gentleman from the show before us went, "Where's your sport coat?" I'm like, I'm moving my office, man. I'll have one next week. Just don't have one today.
Right. Well, and our cool weather has gone already, like the state of Florida does. There's maybe 1 to 2 cold days out of the year that makes our Christmas come true, and then it's back in the 70s. And this week it has been in the 70s. So I'll give you a bye just off of the weather. No sport jacket needed here in the winter time that I'll call it here in the state of Florida. So, but how does that affect your roof? I guess we'll be talking about that today. And the Florida legislative session kicks off this week. So if you're checking us out on Spotify or streaming in a few days, session has officially started then. We're talking about the Super Tuesday. Yeah. The first Tuesday of January 2026, Florida legislative session kicks off, and a couple of weird bills have already been out. Definitely be talking about that. Have you been checking that out?
Well, a little bit. There's the mandatory mediation bill we've talked about before, but where the state already has a mediation program in place that allows a homeowner and an insurer to go to mediation that is paid for by the insurance company already. We do a lot of that work ourselves with clients. We find it very successful. It's well run. And instead of simply continuing with that plan and program, the legislature has potentially a new plan where the insured, my client, the voter, would have to pay for it or pay for part of that program, which just doesn't make any sense. They're basically taking something that works and trying to put a plan in that is more burdensome and less consumer friendly, again, which is not necessarily a surprise because as we see every legislative cycle, there seems to be a lack of consumer benefit for much of what goes on there.
More of an erosion of consumer benefit. And the upswing is not looking to be anywhere in sight for consumers in the state of Florida. Some of the other bills that were sponsored aren't looking good either. Now, you mentioned this mandatory mediation. We're talking about this mandatory arbitration now.
The DOA, the DOA bill.
The administrative hearings. Ooh. And so we're talking about denying consumers access to the court systems. I mean, this just screams constitutional challenge.
For which there already is one, because even the state court judge who heard it said, I think this is unconstitutional to deny people access to courts and force them into an administrative program, which is not a jury of their peers. Which is administrative judges who actually never run for office and are actually simply appointed by the governor, as opposed to at least regular circuit court or county court judges who have to run for re-election. Should people be unhappy with them, you can always vote them out and put someone else in, but not at the administrative level.
I'm still, and it's hard to say it with us being live on the radio, but there's some other bills that don't make sense that have been sponsored so far. House Bill 815, Senate Bill 808, roof age protections. Okay, so we've heard this before, or we've seen this before in the roof surface schedules. And then there was and that was a Senate bill that never went anywhere. In the Florida legislature.
But a lot of people then put that schedule, such as Ken, put that schedule into their policy either way.
They did. And for some reason, they shouldn't have. It's not legal. The Florida statute states that you get replacement cost value. That doesn't include some coverage erosion based off of the age of your roof. And so they're continuing the different ways around the roof in limiting certain coverage, and in this way, and I thought there was already a bill around this that the insurance company cannot non-renew you or cancel you if it was proved to be found that you had 5 years or more longevity in your roof.
Yeah, if you obtain a certification from someone who is certified, whoever that may be. I think under Florida statutes, it's a general contractor or a roofing contractor. I'm not sure if anyone else is allowed to do that, but I think someone else. I think a certified home inspector can also do it. Provide that report that has more than 5 years left. They cannot then non-renew you based on age of your roof.
Right. And I was scratching my head talking about the discussion when we're trying to save money for our homeowners insurance renewal. We would go out and seek the home inspector to do the wind mitigation and the 4-point inspection. We bear that cost. A part of this bill would suggest that if they try to cancel you or non-renew you, and then you get this said inspection, they would then have to reimburse you for said inspection.
Okay.
And it seems like they're trying to play it off as some sort of relief. I think it just further empowers insurance companies to deny you or non-renew you based off the age of your roof.
Well, look, the fact that they can't non-renew you doesn't mean they can't deny you either. I mean, it's not like I get the certification, I get a free pass for the next 5 years that says no matter what happens, good or bad, they cannot deny my claim. Simply not non-renewing you is a moment in time that is then changed by weather conditions, everything else. One thing I will say is that even though we had a superbly quiet hurricane season, despite so many storms that came so close to us, on Saturday, today's Monday? On Saturday night, I got my first storm alert that I've gotten in months, and that was a hailstorm. And I don't know. We had a town in Florida called Baghdad, but apparently we have a population of 27,000 people who live in Baghdad, which is up by Pensacola, who had 0.75 or greater inch hail, which is the first hailstorm of the season that I'm aware of that exceeded 0.75, 3/4 of an inch.
That's interesting, and I'm still. I mean, we have Escambia County in Pensacola, and now we have a city of Baghdad. So it's interesting territory.
It is, to
say the least.
It's right next to Benghazi, I'm told. It's a place right next door.
Going Italian, and I'm surprised that our guest then is sitting right in front of us and is not in Baghdad currently knocking on doors. It's Brian with Harmony Roofing. What's going on, man?
How are you doing? I'm living my best life.
Yeah, you are. Nice. Yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself and your company, man. I'd love to hear about it, man.
Absolutely, thanks. My name is Brian. I am owner of Harmony Roofing. Started the company after 5 years of being a general manager in another roofing company. I didn't necessarily approve of everything that they were doing and thought I could do it better. Before that, I was an adjuster for a couple large insurance companies. And it's funny you talk about claim denials and everything. I've seen some very scratch your head, tilt your neck kind of situations that you wouldn't believe.
And one that was in the legislature just in 2022, right before they slammed all of those special sessions and then the early session 2023 bills down our throat, where he had these independent adjusters going up and saying, hey, I got hired by the insurance company to make these adjustments, and I would pay for the roof, all these things, to find out later I get a phone call by that same insured saying, hey, why didn't you pay for you told me you were paying for my roof and all this other thing, end up giving me a payment under deductible, and it was a repair for the roof, and they left their IA's name on it, which is an independent adjuster, which we stated on the show is really not independent, but they work for a third-party adjustment firm, and but they were being changed. The estimates were being changed by the desk adjuster who works for the insurance company, and that was proven to be a thing. And would that be normal practice?
That's absolutely normal practice. I was both sides on that fence. I was out in the field, and I was the desk adjuster, and I was in the reconciliation team. And so in all of those cases, yes, the file could be approved by the field, denied at the desk. And then there was situations where I was approving at the desk, and simply because my team leader changed to a different team leader, that team leader then put a stop to the floor action. Out of that meeting, we were at like a 75 approval rating. After that meeting, which happened at like 2 o'clock, there was a 10% approval rating on all claims that came out of that office.
Holy cow.
That sounds like, what do we call that? Bad faith?
Oh, absolutely bad faith. Now, proving it's an easy thing, right? But then getting it to a point to where you will get that adjudication of that is a whole nother thing, and has made it more difficult in the state of Florida. It used to be you can run it basically at the same time. If you were being slow walked, wrongfully denied, underpaid, those types of things. And during all those sweeping law changes, and when the insurance company gave $100 million to Governor DeSantis to run for president, the governor gave them everything they wanted. And everything they've wanted in the last 10 years, everything and the kitchen sink, which was that final death nail of getting rid of attorney's fees for insureds. So at their worst day, if you file an insurance claim, you're a homeowner, you get slow walked, you get denied, you win your day in court, the carrier's only going to have to pay what they should have paid when you initially filed the claim, which is crazy. They could slow walk you for years and years and years, and that's all you're going to get paid. You're suing for $10,000, you get your day of victory. It could be years down the road. Here's your $10,000. Oh, and by the way, he's going to take a piece of that. And that's just wild. And so Louisiana, when we did work there in 2020, we found out it's much different over there. Things run a lot faster. And in different states, they treat things differently. And there is automatic bad faith if you're running it slow, you're slow walking. I think FedNat got fined there for slow walking. They were the same things that they were doing in Florida. They also insured a bunch. And there was a headline out in the paper that talked about how FedNat got a huge fine by the Louisiana state government for slow walking claims, as they do here in Florida.
We're talking about also that California has 30 days to pay claims, and Florida was 90, now 60, but then there's 60, you can add another 30 onto the 60 anyway by statute. So California can adjust claims in 30 days, but Florida can barely do it in 90.
Would double the population.
Right.
It's wild. Yeah, so they have 30 days to pay or deny a claim, and then 30 days after they issue the payment in California. It's much, much quicker there. It's also, as we split lines and we look at, who's consumer friendly and who's not, which is weird because I'm super consumer friendly, but I like my independent rights. So, but it's a blue state, so they're very, very consumer friendly there in California. So, do they have favorable laws? I don't know, because you would think they would, but then why would they let insurance companies write out wildfire coverage or earthquake coverage? And it's just like, it's almost like a phenomenon for you to be able to get that kind of coverage there in the state.
Well, I mean, we really have to stop and say to yourself, does it matter what political party I'm in to determine whether or not I should be screwing consumers or not? I mean, from that perspective, you and I both voted for Governor DeSantis, certainly the first time, thinking that we needed, that it was a good thing, a good moderate, we thought, to come in and do good work, because it didn't seem to matter what party you were. What I can understand is everyone votes, whether you're Democrat or Republican, everyone gets to go to the polls. And the fact that people don't seem to want to vote for things that benefit themselves has always been a little confusing to me. even in Florida, with all the legislative changes that have been bad for consumers, I'm aware of it. I haven't seen anything in the paper that said, hey, they finally come in and voted out these people who took away all their rights, who took away all their ability to get their insurance claims adjusted properly or paid properly. So to me, it's less political than I'm not sure what it is, whether you're just that beholden to special interests, where the people who give you money is how you vote. I mean, that's why they have lobbyists, right? That's why they have all these people. That's why State Farm give all the money to Jimmy
Tronis.
And from DFS. Petronas.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Petronas. There we go. I mean, there's a reason why the insurers give this money in order to gain benefits. So, again, to me, it's not even political. It's just I go, why would you not want to have legislators in place who are good for you when it comes to insuring essentially typically your largest asset? Whether you're Republican or Democrat, normally your home is your single largest asset. Why would you not want friendly treatment from an insurance company, no matter whether it's $1 million house or a $200,000 house?
Right. I mean, well, just to be able to afford to live here in the state of Florida, you should be looking at who should I be voting for. And AI is such a great tool nowadays. I mean, just in your regular Google, you can hit AI mode, and it's very helpful in the way of fact gathering in a fast way of saying, who are these, or how have these potential candidates that are running for governor now in the state of Florida, how have they voted in the past, or how would you think you would vote? They would vote if they were to get elected in a way that would be helpful for the consumer, and it'll pull up information and say, well, they're more prone to be backed by insurance versus, well, they're more prone to be for consumer. We saw that in some of the previous outspoken Republicans, like Senator Flores. She was fantastic on the floor. She says, listen, I mean, what happened in 2013 with the whole PIP stuff, she was just like, we're not going to do this in property, where you're like, yeah, we'll do this now and we'll fix it later, kind of thing, reduce rates later. No, that's not going to happen. Senator Tom Lee, who's another strong Republican who voted, he didn't care about what party he voted with. And it seemed like when those two strong senators left, it was done. 2019, 2020, it was like a whole new world of legislators and ones that could get run over by the governor. And that's exactly what happened. And, as we've said before, I mean, absolute power ruins absolutely. And he had way too much power in making the bills came from his office, as we know. Me and my lobbyists and our team sitting in the senator's office, waiting to see what the bill was going to come out with, because he didn't even know.
Yeah, by the senator who sponsored the bill.
That's right.
Right. Unfamiliar with its contents.
And it's still it's beyond me. We even have the facts. Some of it made it to the paper and it just gets shunned. But during that, right before when that change off 2018 was happening, and I think it was Chris Sprouse, it was Speaker of the House, and or was that that was the 2021 to 2022 year, 2021, where he held off a lot of the major change because he didn't want that to be too dramatic in the favor of insurance companies, to where as soon as that seat changed, and he could have his way. I think it was Renner at that point.
Yep.
Who just gave all favor to the governor and let him just run amok.
And essentially he and Pasadomo, who was the Senate president, were quoted as saying, well, the governor gave us an agenda, we're going to press it forward. I mean, a lack of legislation, a lack of legislative activity, simply a rubber stamping what the governor put forth.
It's just beyond me, and I hope to never see that much power come from the governor's office. And I'm looking to see, who could be, or who the best or the biggest candidate right now that's looking for the state of Florida. And it's looking at what is it, Byron
Thompson Byron.
It's been a minute since I looked it up. He was endorsed by President Trump,
right?
And one of the leaders of the Republican Party who's going to be running for governor. And so Several others have not put their name in the hat officially. One of them was going to be Casey DeSantis, Governor DeSantis' wife, and it would just be another 4 years of the same, which I'm not looking forward to, and I don't think would even be considered. So she hasn't officially put her name in the hat, and I don't think that she would even come close in the primary race.
No, I think that would be just as they would call it a beard on behalf of the governor. So I don't think we'll see that.
I think everybody's got fatigue, governor fatigue or dictator fatigue. But where I was going to is that he was quoted in the paper is that during that time he was telling people during the 2021 to 2022 year, and Chris Sprouse was on the way out, and he was kind of holding his line. He was telling people, listen, if you don't do my bidding, I will run people against you in the primaries, and you will lose your seat. So not only did he have all the Republicans on his side, but he was shaking Democrats too. But the Republicans so much outnumber the Democrats that it's not even a fair fight.
Right.
So it used to be where it was pretty much even in the Democrats and Republicans. All you had to do is get a couple of, because Democrats always stick together. So all of them would all stick together in their vote. All you would need to do is that one Senator Flores or Senator Tom Lee, one of them to say, you know what, I agree with what the Democrats put up, or this pro-consumer piece because it makes sense. And this other Republican-sponsored bill doesn't have anything that says anything about premium reduction. Nothing. And so that would be, something that we would love to see, but it never came up unless it was by a Democrat. And so, and it's unfortunate. Now it's way outnumbered, and it doesn't matter. And now even Democrats aren't even sticking together, because they're so scrambled.
No, it's been hard. So look, if I don't mind, we were talking about Baghdad, Florida earlier. Brian, I noticed the company you said is veteran-owned. Have you been to Baghdad?
Yes, I have, in Iraq. Iraq, Baghdad, not Baghdad, Florida.
Oh, yeah, Baghdad, Florida might be more of a challenge to get to than Baghdad in Iraq, but I figured I should ask. What was your service like?
So are you referring to roofing service or returning my veteran service?
No, your veteran service.
Yeah. And tell me about what the roofs look like in Iraq.
They're mud hatches with straw on them. So
a lot easier to build. Yeah.
I would imagine. We service everywhere from St. Augustine all the way to St. Petersburg and some areas outside and everything in between. We do roof shingles, tile, metal, TPO, modified abandonment. There's not much we don't do. And so
that's awesome. That's awesome. And then you're the licensed roofer for the company.
Yes.
And the owner and the operator. You have others that work with you well, or in a big separate crew team for large builds and stuff like that. Like crews and such.
We do hire crews to come out and do our jobs, and I like to use the same ones, so I'm very familiar with the people that come out, and we're on first name basis, and they do really good work, so I continue to use them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And do you offer free inspections if somebody does have that? I think there's something, obviously, if there's leaking, but what's the extent of my leak?
Absolutely. And since I used to be an insurance adjuster on both sides of that desk, as you said earlier, I'm pretty good at knowing whether or not that roof is a good candidate for an insurance claim. I'll make a recommendation or not to that homeowner. Like, listen, there's really nothing here that's claim worthy, or I recommend you file a claim with your insurance company.
Wow, it's really a twofer. 2 inspections and one really, in a way of like having 2 different aspects looking at that roof, and like you're saying, being able to decide or to be able to help give some opinion-based observations to the homeowner, let them decide. Because a lot of times, like we say in here, when roofers are running claims, a lot of times they got their eye just on that prize of just let me get that retail purchase, let them get me to pay it. But many times, they're doing the homeowner a disservice, especially if they know that 6 months prior to or recently there was a storm that went through 50, 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds, which we've seen outside of hurricanes, or 1 inch to 0.75 inch of hail could do some good amount of damage. And so they're almost doing the homeowner a disservice if they're not saying, you know what, we offer financing, or we can go ahead and get this roof bought, right? But let me see, or let me make a suggestion. You may want to get this reimbursed and be able to run an insurance claim at the same time, and many folks can't afford it, to be honest with you, but they're just also misinformed. So to be able to have both that opinion of is it something that could possibly be viable? In my opinion, I don't know. But also, like, what do I need to do on this roof? How do they get a hold of you if they want to get a free inspection?
They just need to go to Google, type in harmonyroofing.com, and send a request for quote on our website.
Love it. So it's harmonyroofing.com? Mm-hmm. Love it. All right. And then go from there to order your free roof inspection. So we're going to take a break here shortly. We're going to come back with Brian with Harmony Roofing, talk to you about this. Do I have 5 more years left of my lifespan of my roof, and do I need an inspection? So we'll be right back after the break. All right. We're back live. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell every Monday night right here, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. And if you miss us here, you have another chance at listening to the show. Every week we put on a new show for you. You can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you like to stream, and of course on YouTube. If you like to check out the video along with our show, go for it there. We're just talking offline here. I'd love to kind of bring this into our listening audience. We're here with Brian with Harmony Roofing. And if you were just listening last segment, it's harmony-roofing.com. And for the kids out there, what do they call it? A slash?
Dash.
Oh, dash. Okay, there you go.
Slash the guitar player for Guns N' Roses.
There you go. All right. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of the military service that you, some of the experiences that you had. We recently just in the news, we're just kind of into, like, I mean, outside of the movies and all the different shows that we watch, right, that has all this heavy military action going on, but we saw the Venezuelan president get extracted from his home or bunker, whatever they call it, by the United States, and you called it the elite team. But I'd love to hear about some of your experience in the military.
Sure. I was deployed to Iraq in a double extension from 05 to 07 with the 167 LRS Airborne Rangers Unit out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And we deployed as a...
I feel like that was top secret.
Yeah, it sounded like something I wasn't supposed to know.
Nothing secret about that. We deployed to Balad, Iraq, and we were their QRF force for the base.
And what does that mean?
Yeah, it's like
a quick reaction force. So we would get tasked with different missions, sometimes patrol, sometimes convoy guard, or route, overwatch, extraction, different things.
So you were hanging on the outside of a helicopter then, with a big long-range rifle of some sort?
Sure, we'll go with that.
All right. or is it more like...
more like laying on the ground for 36 hours next to a big bush and just providing route clearance and overwatch on a road that would frequently get IEDs, and if we saw something suspicious, we'd call it in or take a shot.
I remember seeing...
I was going to say, we'd take a shot at it.
What was the movie? The American Sniper, the movie. I know those in the middle of that, the guys get caught on a rooftop running out of ammo within the sandstorm. And I realized that there's some Hollywood to that. But your work was to go get guys, go into bad places and get guys out of trouble.
So there were a few calls where other units would get in trouble, and they would call for a QRF team to come as backup, and we would go out and serve as backup and help them out.
Today doesn't seem like a day to be too stoic. I mean, that sounds like stuff. Like, I'm thinking if I'm on the top of a building and things are going bad, I'm not like hanging around going, well, whenever those QRF guys can get here, I got tons of time here. They're closing in, but stop and get a burger.
No, so we would be there's a policy, or we'd have to be within 5 minutes of our vehicle. If the call came in, we'd rush throw our gear on, and that was very dramatic, like with our weapon and ammo, and jumping into our vehicles, blast out of the base at top speed, pedal to the metal, going down dirt roads, trying to stay on the road in some cases, because some of these roads they're not well built. So, I mean, I've got a great photo of one of our Humvees completely upside down because the driver went off the ditch.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
And how many tours did you do?
So we were supposed to go out just for a year, and then it turned into a year and 6 months, and then it turned into another 6 months. So it was like it turned into two full years.
Doing that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Living in sand? Right? I mean, that's what I mean, right? Essentially, that's what it is, right?
Were you over there for the full 2 years, or were you coming back?
There was a little bit of a like a pre-up sort of get your unit in the mindset of what you're going to be facing while over there. And then on the way back, there was like 1 week of basically debriefing. Here's your stuff. Here's the way to contact the VA for benefits, and
Because you're going to need them when
let's
you're
give
done
you
this.
a medical and a physical, and then kick you, and they cannot get you out the door.
But it's 2 years though, in essentially 2 years in theater.
I think it was.
Wow.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Somewhere between 18 and 20 months in theater.
All I know is I mean, to me, that's a hard way to tell you're trying to get a good night's sleep, and then the alarm.
No, I think there was a flight that took off from the airfield of the base that we were at, and then probably within a kilometer of where we were sleeping, it crashed. I guess some of the chains that were holding the tanks in place like broke and snapped, distributed the weight of the aircraft, and the whole thing came down like just outside the perimeter fence.
Holy cow.
That woke me up in the middle of the night. That was scary.
I think you're getting bombed or something.
Well, that would happen like weekly.
Oh, wow.
Mortar
your base?
Yeah, mortar fire would hit a base weekly all the time. In fact, there was a mortar round that came through. It was like an abandoned kind of building. There's like a pool kind of thing, and it went through the roof and embedded itself into the desk and never detonated. And so it just sat there.
No way.
My feeling is I have a friend of mine who's a pilot in Desert Storm, and you ask him about it, he's like, yeah, we had to fly some planes and drop some bombs. And he's like, and I'm like, he's like, and that's it. That's all it is. I think Brian's a guy like that. He's like, yeah, we had to do this thing. And I'm like, that sounds like a big thing. He's like, yeah. You know, I think the mindset has to be a certain mindset. Because you're me, I'm like, I'm not sleeping for the next 22 months, I think, is what's going to happen here. And Brian's like, I'm going to go take a nap. Call me if you need me, kind of thing.
Well, I mean,
You need
there
to
is
jump out of an airplane to get excitement or something.
there is a sort of like after you hear the 50th mortar raid bomb alarm going off, you just kind of get into complacency about it. There is that aspect.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I almost get killed in the 50 times. I'm thinking the 51st time was a big deal.
A shell sticks in the desk next to me. It's like, woo! Glad that didn't go off.
That was close.
Anyways, what's for dinner?
What are you making?
Were you sniper trained as well?
So I was a designated sniper for my team, yes.
Wow. So the long
Designated,
range.
that means you're like the number one guy?
My marks were high enough to rank me that designation in my team within my squad. And so if there was a mission that required that position, then I was assigned to that.
Yeah.
So if they're like, some suspicious 300 yards that way. Hey, Brian, shoot it.
See what happens.
See what it does.
See if it keeps moving.
Can't talk about that though. But you were saying during the break, I think it's so interesting. The team, I did hear them talk about this Delta Force team that went into the Venezuela house and did that extraction. I guess I like that term the best. What type of elite team would that be in the rankings, as you mentioned?
So, I mean, every branch has their own elite unit, right? So, like, the Navy has Navy SEALs, the Army has Delta Force, the Air Force has their own.
Where are the Rangers at?
So, the Rangers are like an elite regimented unit. And then beyond that, you have the Delta Force. And they're kind of cherry-picked even from the Rangers and maybe even some other segments of the military. And so...
Wow, that's interesting.
So consider them like the 0.1 percenters, of the elite of the elite,
Wow. How big would that unit be? Is it just a small unit, or are there a bunch of micro units of these guys, or is it just like one team?
I really don't know the answer to that question. Because they're good at being secret about it, right? So
right, yeah, they really don't know.
How many are there? I can't tell you.
Right. I mean, from some of the news that I heard, it was that he was on his way to this within his residence. There was like some steel bunker that he was on his way to, and on the way there he got intercepted in his home and then extracted there. They said it would have been and I think Trump was quoted as saying that, well, we had I have all the tools to go and unlock it. He had all the So close. I don't know if it was going with Magoo there or something, but I don't know what I was doing with that. But they had all the tools to be able to, whether he did make it to his bunker, they were like, either way, he was going to get taken out.
Right.
Yeah, whether they had how they call it, weld through it or whatever. But that's some crazy stuff. I mean, how they were able to get deployed that fast, it's actually pretty amazing.
No, it's certainly something. I mean, I guess you have to call it either an extraction or a politically motivated kidnapping, right? That's one, like one of the two. I might say which one's right. I'm just saying that other than extraction, what else are you going to call it?
I don't know. Now I think he's going after Cuba. Now he's like, oh, you're next, and it's like, wow.
Gas prices better go down. Venezuela's got, I think, the second or third or fourth largest store of oil in the world.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not related to it at all.
I'm sure making sure they got gas for the Escalades there that everybody around.
Well, from what I understand is that China was trying to make a deal in yen for the for these oil rights and things like that. So it's like to be able to save the U.S. dollar, he made that move pretty quickly.
There you go. Right.
So, but I mean. America, I don't know what else to say, but anyways, but who really knows, right? Nobody knows. Nobody really
How many
knows.
Rangers are there? We don't know either.
Yeah. But Brian, I mean, we know what kind of we're starting to kind of understand a little bit more about you and the type of character that you bring and the type of background that you have. Not only being having just a high level of integrity, but having all this training as a roofer, replacing roofs, offering evaluations on the roof damages, repair, replacement, and then also your expertise as being an adjuster. Just seems like it would it's a good mix for a great business here. And I did hear you mention like your territory. Did you say Central Florida, basically up to the East Coast is where you specialize in?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. And then for your direct contact phone number, how do they get a hold of you then? I know I'm going to give you a few seconds in there. Harmony-roofing.com is how you get a hold of you in one way to say, hey, I want to get a roof evaluation from you. But there's some people, and Hans, you've got them too. You give out your phone number, they're better at making a phone call or sending you a text message.
Right.
Sending you a copy of their policy or sending you something there that way just makes a lot more sense. But Brian, how do we get a hold of you?
Our office has an admin, and you can call this or send a text message to this number and say, I would like a roof inspection at 910-459-1155. If you text that number asking for a roof inspection, we can get you an appointment.
That's amazing. And you were saying these inspections are no cost for you to come out, take a look at the damages, and provide an estimate.
That's correct.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And then also to be able to get that expert opinion. That's all it would be, is an opinion to say maybe or not this would be something that may be covered by a policy of insurance, and that's something that may come up. And it's somebody that you may need to talk with Hans Kennon about to make sure that your policy is something that you'd want to move forward with. How do they get a hold of you, Hans?
888-878-4267. That's 888-878-HANS.
I love that. So if you do need an attorney for your claim, give Hans a call. We'll be going to take a break, give some thanks to our sponsors. We'll be right back. All right. Oh, there we go. All right, we're back live. Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell right here, 94.9 FM, 950 on the AM dial. And I noticed when I was driving through, I was listening to 94.9 FM, and it cracked a little bit. And I switched over to 950 AM, and it was a little bit clearer. So it was louder there. I don't know. It's less competition on the AM dial. Who knows? But just a FYI there. But, of course, you can check us out. If you missed a part of the show, you can check us out in a few days. Spotify, iTunes, anywhere you'd like to stream. And, of course, on YouTube, we're there. ContractorTalkPodcast.com is another way to get it. Now, we're sponsored by the Restoration Association of Florida. We are a non-profit association by contractors for contractors. So if you like what you hear, you want to be a part of our show, part of our association as a contractor, or just want to donate because you're just that kind of person, check us out on raflorida.org. That's raflorida.org. All right. So, man, such great conversation that we have just on the break. I'd love to hear stories about your background and all that. And Angela, our producer, actually had a good question. I'd love to hear about this on air. Like, how was that transition coming back from your time in the Army and then transitioning into now a successful roofing company?
Oof.
It was a little difficult. You kind of go through a little journey, and a lot of it has to do with self-growth and self-correction, because even me, my military training began when I was a junior in high school, and then imagine going through your senior year. I'm a military soldier. Like, that messes with your head. You get like a really big head. You walk around with a big chip on your shoulder, and then of course you get thrown into Iraq where your life is at risk over and over again. And you realize that in some ways it's kind of luck and you don't have any control over it. Like, you're just driving down the road one minute and the next your buddy's dead, and it's not like any of that training helped them. And so, like, you realize that, like, it doesn't matter how good you are, you could die today. And then that messes with your head a little bit. So you come back stateside and you just have to kind of learn to deal with it. It's not easy.
Right. I mean, just from the outside, you're thinking, wow, I mean, you would think that you would feel more comfortable knowing that the chances are less likely you're going to just randomly die or get hit by a mortar or whichever, right? And so, but I don't understand that, but I can imagine the nerves that you had, the height and that level of just uncertainty, and then coming back, there's just a whole new world of uncertainty, right, Hans? I mean, we go through it in a much different way here, and just being a part of this craziness in Florida, and this, we both changed businesses. You started a new business. I had to greatly, reduce my business due to massive law changes and such. Not the best year.
No, tough one.
Or last several years. Really hasn't, since the chilling effect has been. But but
look, man. But the reality is, my phone still rings. Your phone still rings. We still help people every day, whether you're doing engineering, doing mold testing, whether doing the litigation, everything we do on behalf of consumers. So for all the bad there was, and it was a bad year. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. You and I both know it. Reality is, it's 26. We're still here, still helping people. Every day the phone rings. Every day we do something to help somebody who can't get help anywhere else.
Amen. That's right. And so, how long has it been since you've been back?
So I got back in 2007. I did some college, worked some odd and end jobs, like most soldiers do when they get back. I eventually ended up at some work to hire conference, saw a desk working $20 an hour, and I said, I don't believe you, but tell me more. and so that's how I ended up in the adjusting world. I did that for 5 years. I just couldn't believe the things that I was seeing. There was times when I was in the middle of writing an approval report, and then my manager over my shoulder says, no, that's not approved. And then I would change it to not approved because I was doing what I was told, right? And so that's just one little example. And I could go on and on, but eventually...
confusing, trying to do your job, and then they change it.
Yeah. And so next, the next door neighbor at my house was doing their roof, and I asked the roofing company, it's like, hey, you need an adjuster on your staff by any chance? So I went on board, and then within a couple months, they promoted me to the general manager of the company, and I just ran with the company for 5 years. I didn't like some of the ways that company was being run, and I said, I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to run this the right way with integrity, and I'm going to do it the right way, and we're going to see what happens. Yeah. And I just kind of put people first, and I think if I just put people first, the company will just grow from that.
Absolutely. And I think that's such a great way of, I was going to say motto, just a great way to just be as a business owner, because it really is. What can I do for you is the best way to approach a consumer in this day and age where customer service is just so hard to get. With more and more AI integrated relations, it's less and less of a personal touch. It really is.
Well, I think what I've learned also tonight is that if I have a roofing job that requires any sort of sniper work, and that Brian is available to assist with. I mean, talk about security at the job site. I mean, you don't have to worry about anything. You're like, yeah, I left my wallet sitting on an unlocked car. Don't worry about it. All right, Brian's here.
You might find this interesting. I've inspected 2 roofs now in Florida with a bullet sticking out of one of the shingles. Wow. Absolutely.
So Brian's doing Overwatch at the job site tomorrow, so you got nothing to worry about, Mrs. Smith. Oh, that's good to know.
And that's funny, because I've done plenty of inspections in certain areas of town where they're more likely to celebrate where they're shooting guns in the air. And you got to realize, it's like what comes up You got to come back down. And so they'll have these celebrations, and you'll find these shells in the roof. And so I would love it as a starting out of my early years when you're helping these folks and whatever, and then they get denied because they either lack of coverage or just or they say, oh, it's a wear and tear or this like that, whatever. And on wind, and then you would find that bullet, and you're like, actually, it's vandalism. Right there. Right. Pay me my money right now. You don't know who shot it. Was it you? Was it your neighbor? Were they having the celebration? Did you slaughter the pig? I mean, let's be real. All right. But either that or in Pine Hills, one or the other. So I can say that I'm from Central.
I mean, my feeling is if you can run an extraction team in Iraq, I think you can build a roof. That's a hell of a roof.
I love that. And most people, what they want is they want good service, they want integrity, and they want in this way of give me something for free, give me something now, kind of mentality or society kind of thing. I think you're able to meet all of those on being able to give them a good evaluation of the roof condition and an estimate on the spot, in just such a way just to pick your brain. Mm-hmm. Not only just not talk to you about about your time in the Army, maybe they'll get more information out of you sitting at the kitchen table ready to sign that agreement. All right. Tell me did you really have that big gun hanging on the side of this, on that helo?
The 50. Yeah, you got the 50.
Right here. But one more time, Brian, how do we get a hold of you if we wanted to set up for a free inspection? Along with
our preferred way would be to go to our website, reach us at www.harmony-roofing.com.
Love it. And with everybody having their internet on their phones nowadays, super easy to be able to do that. And Hans,
yes.
We've talked a lot about helping people still in 2026 with fingers crossed on something happening legislatively.
Yes.
But you're still helping people every day. How are you mostly, I would guess, how do most of your conversations go with insureds these days, and has mediation been successful? How have things been going with
No, it's doing well. Mediation still, we resolve a lot of cases at mediation, and what really happens is what I tell the clients these days, it is a different conversation than it was several years ago, is I say, look, today is going to lead probably to one of four things. Either nothing, which means they're not going to offer any money. We're going to get you a good down payment. We're going to get you halfway there. We're going to get you all the way home. And that's really where we are these days. Litigation, I still have a lot of cases in litigation. We still resolve cases in litigation often. We don't put things in litigation as quickly or as easily as we used to do it because those costs and those fees are now borne by my client. So we try to be very cautious with the money we spend because, again, it's going to come out of their end. But if I can get someone either based on the facts and circumstances of the case, if I can get them, again, a good down, a 20-year-old 3-tab roof, which some people still have, I get you a good down payment. That's a good start. Get you halfway there. That's half more than you had to pay. Get you all the way home. Then it all worked out. I tell people all the time. I go, we started this mediation at 10 a.m. It's now 10:45. There's $15,000 on the table. We started with zero. Mm-hmm. And I said we want to get you to decision money every time. And decision money is a thing where everybody does the same thing. It's enough money where you stop and you go. And you make that face, and you go, I can make that work. And if we can get them to that point, if I can't get them to that point, we can't. Sometimes we can't help folks, but we let them know, and we give them education. We teach them about what they need to look for and what they need to do as this next season, as this winter storm season and summer storm season approaches, what to look for, what to do, when to call us, and which is anytime you want to. After any storm, let us know. If you find shingles in the yard, you look up at the roof, you see something looks out of whack, you call and let us know. But every day we educate them and we try to get them paid as much as we can. We still do it every day.
And we've talked about Hurricane Milton and Helene here and the time that you have to file.
Yes.
First notice of claim has passed.
Yes.
Being 1 year now in the state of Florida since those legislative changes in 2022.
Which used to be, just so everyone knows, used to be 3 years. Then it went to 2 years. Then it went to 1 year for initial making of a claim.
It was. And during our our time. It was when I first got into it was 5 years.
Yeah.
It was just 5 years. There was
Right.
nothing, and then they complained and they got, okay, fine, if it's like a hurricane, 3 years. Then it just went to all claims to 3 years, and then it went to 2 years. So it was a slow degradation of our rights here in the state of Florida, and making it more friendly for insurers for sure. What was I going to hit the point on? So that deadline has passed. Now, if you have not resolved with your insurance company and you have an open claim, you filed the claim and they
Yes.
underpaid you, like we saw in the newspaper, we saw that there was 15 insurance companies who denied or underpaid under the deductible. 50% of these
more,
folks, right, by 15 insurance companies. So we're saying there's a couple million people that were not written a check or were a very small payment,
Yeah,
and
good
they never
point.
did anything about it.
Good point. You have 1 year to make your initial claim under the statute as it exists. You then have 6 months from the date of loss. 6 months from the date of loss. And this is 1 year from date of loss. You have an additional 6 months, a total of 18 months.
That's right.
6 more months to make a supplemental claim. So
That's right.
even though the dates for Helene and Milton have passed, as far as first notice of claim, if you've made a claim, you're not satisfied with that claim, you still have time.
You still
to
have
make a
until
supplemental
April
claim.
9th to give Hans a call, and this is what I'm setting you up for,
Yes.
because this
I
makes
feel
a
it
lot
coming.
of sense.
I'm ready. Throw me the softball.
pitching,
Throw
ready,
me the softball.
I'm winding it up right now. And so if you have not signed a full release with your insurance company,
Which they shouldn't ask you to do anyway on your own from your own insurer.
that's right, then you still have a chance to call Hans and to get a supplement possibly done and get more money from your claim if you're not satisfied. So how do we get a hold of you, Hans?
888-878-4267, 888-878-4267, which is 4267 spells Hans, H-A-N-S. Cell phone is 407-782-0258, 407-782-0258.
Now, you cannot call somebody out of the blue, so they would have to
Correct.
go to your website first, fill out the contact form, and then you can contact them. Is that
Yes,
right?
they have to make first contact, which is kennonlaw.com, KENNONLAW.com.
Love it. That's how you get a hold of them. So if you are one of those millions that have
Millions.
got slow paid or underpaid, give Hans a call. Thank you so much, Brian. Harmony Roofing being on our show. We'll talk to you guys later. See you.